Hi everybody, welcome back to the League-Kempner House in Galveston. I'm Janie, and I think I told you in last week's video I had a hard time getting a video out. I just didn't have time, and it's not because there wasn't anything going on at the house. It's because there was too much going on, and I was driving back and forth and just didn't have time to sit and do much editing. I have accelerated my editing skills up from sloth to kind of giant tortoise, but I'm still a little slow. So this week we're going to catch up on some things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. But one of the things we've been doing is we opened for tours. And this is Oscar. Oscar, come say hi. Who is one of our volunteers. And I just wanted to show that we are not a bunch of 65-year-old ladies. We have some young people like Oscar very interested in the house. And he really kind of embodies what we want to do here. And that's get the next generation, I guess he's 2 generations removed, involved and interested in history and caring about saving these old houses. And Oscar got a construction background.
Yes, ma'am.
So he is actually going to come next week and start framing the walls in the basement where we just got that concrete poured. So we're very excited about that. But today we're just doing tours. But while we're in between guests, we have gone into storage and gotten our bunting out because it's close to the 4th of July. So we want to dress the house up. So I couldn't find my string, but we found some old, looks like telephone cable in the trash pile. So we're using that. It's probably sturdier anyway. So Oscar's getting started on that, and I'm going to go down and get things set up so that we can receive visitors. Okay, we are excited to have Mateo here. Yay! He is our volunteer electrician. This is his lovely wife, Blake, who I think you actually found us online, didn't you?
Yeah.
Weren't you the instigator of all this? But we are super excited because today we're actually starting. We've been meeting and talking and
talking a lot,
changing our mind several times, but we're committed. And they've been to the supply house and have PVC. And I'm going to let Mateo tell you what he's doing here because electrical is not my thing. So I'm going to get out of the way and take it to him.
So what we're doing, this is the apartment place. So we over in this corner here, we've notched out an area so we can run our conduits up, just 90 them up, so we can run our home runs from here from the panel. And then since it's all concrete in here, we're having to run underneath the ground, and we're going to run a 1-inch line this way, where the plumbing guys are going to be putting in their drains and their vents. We're just going to come 90 up right next to them and put a junction box, just probably around right here, so that we can put our home runs for the kitchen in here, and we can just feed them all the way in under the concrete, and then to the panel. Then we're going to do the same thing with a smaller 1/2-inch line going all the way over to the end of the room there. And we're going to 90 up on that end, and we're going to have an outlet right there, a receptacle. And then we're going to go from there and branch off.
Yeah, because you were saying there's electrical is like plumbing. There's a lot of codes and rules.
Yes.
And once we pour the floor, well, we're committed to coming up here, but you're going to actually run the plastic.
Yeah, so
like a chase around, because this is solid concrete and brick. So we're not going.
Yeah, we're not going in.
We're going to do everything surface mount. So what's the rule about how many plugs?
So the rule, the code says that on every surface of wall, you need to be able to have access and a receptacle within 6 feet of you, which means every 12 feet. Because if I'm right here and I want to go 6 feet that way, I can get a receptacle or 6 feet that way. So that means on basically every 12 feet.
So we've got windows. So we can't put it under the window, right? Because we're going to raise this floor. So like this wall might be a problem. We'll need more than one because it's longer than 12 feet. So we couldn't just do one.
So we probably just do one in the middle. Probably one on the end over here
and one on the end over
that way it'll cover everything, because this is one just here and then one on the end is probably 20 feet.
Not enough, because no matter where you put a plug, there's not one where you need it. That's where
it never is.
That's where what I find And then where Blake's standing, this will be a built-out wall for the kitchen. So we'll have a switch, and you'll have to do the same thing, come up to get to the light and a porch light outside.
Yep, that's the porch light outside is the only place we're actually gonna drill through.
It looks like, I don't know where that
Yeah,
comes
it might even
from
be right there.
I don't think it goes out. I think that may go, I don't know what that is. Anyway.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to
figure it out.
It's a very thick wall though.
But today we're just getting the conduit in so Ricardo and his crew can come back and pour concrete over it. So first baby steps, but yay.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
No problem.
He's free. And his boss is a lovely man. You work for
yeah, I work for Hurricane Electric.
Hurricane Electric, and his boss is pulling the permits we need for some bigger stuff. I actually pulled the permits for this myself as the owner. I've learned how to use the city's electronic system. I usually go do it on paper, but I did it through the website that you showed me. So we're legal. We don't do anything without a permit. But at Mateo's level, we can do this, but the big meter stuff outside, his boss will be supervising, and we'll be using Hurricane Electric to do that. So we'll let you get back to work.
Sounds good.
I got my finger in it.
All right.
My arm was about to fall.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going for the kitchen. So again, not knowing much about electricity, that looks kind of small. So that's going to have multiple lines because we got a 220 for the stove, right?
Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to run some THHN wire, which is just individual strands of wire. So that way we can have a lot more in the conduit.
And is each one then insulated? So it's not like that Romex that has the...
Yeah, so Romex is basically THHN once you take off the sheathing off of it.
Casing off of it.
It's not quite THHN, but it is. But then this wire, THHN, will be a lot easier to
feed through there. And you don't need that protection because it's all going to be in that conduit.
It'll be in the conduit, so we don't need that extra sheathing on
okay.
it. We will go for to Romex once we get because we'll have a junction box on this side, a junction box on that side.
Then you'll use
and then we'll use Romex after that. But at this point, we won't have Romex just inside, just so we can get it through easier.
Okay. Learned something. Okay, and I have one more nosy question. So this is gray. This is not like the white PVC that plumbing in. So this is a special electrical conduit?
Yeah, it's electrical PVC. It's still PVC, still poly
vinyl chloride.
Yeah, vinyl. There it is. Polyvinyl chloride. But it's gray because it's identified different.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a different material. It's a different use.
Exactly. It's just a different use to
so you can see.
And then the walls in it are different diameters and whatnot than plumbing. The thicknesses are different, and so it's just for different application. It's the same material.
Same material.
Do I have my saw blade? Cool. That's good. I got it. It's right here.
Oh, you're weird. You have to turn around and show your proof you've worked. That's usually my shot. They very, very dirty behind.
Oh.
My husband and I, we get home and we have towels on our furniture because we can't sit anywhere until we change clothes and shower. So, and that's only a 1-part glue, not a 2-part, like
exactly.
like plumbing, because
it doesn't have to hold water. So
Okay.
it doesn't have to have the
same
bonding and the primer. Yeah, they have a primer that they use. I'm gonna use that other end. So actually, we'll just flip this pipe around. We don't have to worry about it. That way we want him.
So just out of curiosity, did they tell you when you picked this up how much the PVC cost? Did they give
For
you-
all of this, PVC is just $100 for
$100. Okay,
all the materials today.
so not bad.
Yeah, but that includes the glue, the straps, couplings, all that stuff.
Well, I can't tell you how excited I am to get a floor poured in here. It's going to be a huge turning point.
Yeah, that would be nice.
The walls can go up, and then people can actually see the layout and what it looks like and envision it. I'm visual. I do better drawing it out on the ground.
We
I
hold this
can.
pipe. Just that way it doesn't spin when I put this guy on. Well, I'll spin it, but we just need to put it back where it's gonna go. All right. Is it going up, straight up? Yep. Good?
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's not watertight. What happens if water does get in it?
It cools the wire down.
But it
If it
doesn't
gets
short
too
it
hot,
out or anything.
No, because the insulation will
Protect it.
protect it. As long as we have.
Because we have such a moisture problem, and they'll put plastic down under this,
Okay.
which will
Nice.
help.
Yeah, I mean it is technically watertight with this. All right. Is
But
that
it's
straight
not
up?
to the same degree as
that straight
plumbing
up?
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to the same degree. Like it holds water, but it's not going to hold like PSI.
Yeah.
Like 40 PSI or anything. It'll hold moisture if it's creeping along. That is not enough. All right, maybe we'll have to try a different approach. And
We've got a,
is this just all dirt?
I think it is dirt. Yeah, you can try drilling down. You're trying to keep it from floating.
Yeah, just not moving once
Can
they pour
you
the
try
concrete.
going down on the edge here at the bend?
Like over here?
No, go down to the floor.
Oh,
I
like
think there's
now?
a concrete lip right there. Maybe you could.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you can go down with the longer. I've got some longer tap cones.
Okay, let's see.
Nope. Okay, that would be dirt.
It's barely off. There's concrete right here. Oh no, that's
No.
like a metal piece right there or something.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Well, we can do, instead of straps, we could do we've done the stakes, like a stake or something,
I've got
and then just pound it in the ground to hold it in place. That spot we don't want to move it. Anywhere there's 90 going through, we don't
don't want it to move.
don't really want it to move. This guy's already moving.
I have some okay. Well, they can do it. Okay, I can have them do it when they do the pour. When they put the plastic down in the rebar, I can have them tie it off to the rebar
Yeah, that'd probably be good.
with some wire ties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
wire
just tell
ties.
them those need to be completely vertical
Yeah, if
in
they're
place.
vertical.
And keep these. Yeah, so we can do that.
Yeah, that'd be totally fine. That way
Okay.
we can keep it in place.
Okay.
Because it's just when they're pouring the concrete, if these things
It'll
move,
float.
then, yeah,
Yeah, move. Okay. Do you want it under
any
the
glue?
rebar or over the rebar?
Under the rebar.
Under the rebar. Okay.
Yeah, we want it under.
Okay. Stephanie can't sit still.
Why you like me?
I know. It's going to be in a cabinet, so as long as you get above there, we can work with it. But I think that's where the chase kind of goes up, where you pointed, so yeah.
Let's do it right here. Figure it out.
And he can chip out a little more of that concrete if you... I'll have to come back and show you this area in more detail, but as usual, as we were standing around talking and looking at things, I came up with a way to get a wire up to the sunroom. So we needed one more piece of conduits. So Blake and Mateo went and grabbed another piece and came back and put this extra conduit in. The sunroom is probably going to be the most challenging place to get electrical and have it look nice. You see old houses all the time that have surface mounted wiring, and that's okay if you have to do it, but if we can find a way to get wires up in places where we can get plugs and not do surface mount, I would much rather do that. And we kind of have one shot down here in the basement with this conduit, because once we do pour that concrete floor, we're done. We can't get any more in. Everything after that will be surface mounted. So I was glad I noticed that I've been eyeballing it for a while. I just wasn't sure, but when Mateo got here, I showed him what I was thinking, and he thinks it will work. We didn't have time to fully explore it, but he's putting the conduit in just in case it will work. It won't hurt to have it there if we don't use it, and if we need it, it's a great thing to have. We're good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
So, like plumbing, it only took one, I should say unlike plumbing, because it takes 4 or 5 extra trips. This was only one extra trip for material, because we added a line, because this is, we've talked about before, old houses, you can't just go wherever you want to. And we found a place, maybe we can run a wire up to the sunroom above, which is also all concrete. So we're not sure yet, but we're putting it there just in case. So the next step is get Ricardo back in here and pour the floor. But we're going to go out and talk about the meter box and the service. I'm going to cut in the video real quick and tell you what you're about to see. I'm always mentioning that we spend a lot of time talking about what's going to happen and trying to work through problems and think things through. Unlike a new house where you can start with clean plans and design everything efficiently and where things go, with an old house, you have to work with what you have. And so what you're about to see is just Mateo and I talking through this crazy outdoor panel and meter situation. And so this is what it's really like. This is only a few minutes, but sometimes it can go on for hours. We have to leave, regroup, come back, and think again. So this is just an example to show you what really goes on.
There we go.
So this was put in early on before I had the final plan. So you came up with a way to change this. So.
Yeah, I came up with a way, and then also, I haven't told you yet, but there's also
a new way.
a new way that my boss also would like.
Okay.
That his standards.
And he's the master electrician.
Yeah, he's the master electrician.
He's the guru that we have to pay attention to.
Yes,
so.
exactly. So the main thing is this 4-inch line coming into here. We could actually just pull this guy off so we can actually look at what they did here.
Because this is not live.
Yeah, it's not live, so we can just touch it. This 4-inch is coming into right here, and you can see that they cut a bigger hole. So this thing can't actually get strapped on correctly. So that means the meter might not be able to latch on.
Okay.
So what we're gonna, the main,
Cut a bigger hole.
no, we're gonna, yeah, they cut a bigger hole. We need to make it smaller.
Oh, you're talking about the punch out in the box
Yes.
itself.
They're only
So
allowed
this
to go
is
to
a
3-inch.
3-inch. You can see the ring.
And
They
then
went
you can-
4.
Yeah, you can see the 4 inches what
So
the
you're
pipe
going
is.
to step this down.
We need to step it down, but
Okay.
to do that, we're gonna put a gutter right here.
Right, which
So
we
we're gonna-
talked about to
yeah.
add another meter can.
Yeah, so we're gonna add a gutter right here, and then all these these lines that are coming in, they're gonna be terminated inside this gutter, and then it'll feed this. Now,
And a gutter lets you add another.
yeah, I let
Meter
you add
box.
another meter box.
And you
so
can,
that
I've seen them with
oh yeah,
tons,
multiple.
but we're just going to have 2.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
My boss was thinking, or Gary was thinking 3, just for one for each. I was like, we don't need to have that. But that's what he was thinking, like maybe to add 3 if you wanted. But we're only wanting 2.
2.
To one for the apartments and then one for the rest of the house.
So you won't be able to reuse this then, or
So we can
because they've
reuse
already
this.
punched it out.
We
or,
can reuse this. We just need to step. We have they call them Chinese money. To step it down, we just have a 4-inch to 3-inch hole, and then we put one on each side, and then we can put
to
a 3-inch.
clamp on here to fix the hole that
Exactly.
cut. Okay,
So
so you
we're
can
gonna-
repair this.
We can repair this box
because
and be
this
able to
is
reuse it.
expensive.
Oh yeah, it's very expensive. We want to be able to reuse this thing
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing that's on here that is incorrect is that this is only a actually both of these pipes. They're running two hots, like basically they're doing parallels, but parallels cannot run in the same conduit together.
Okay.
And the same thing with this one going up. They can't run together in the same conduit.
Okay.
So we have to have another
And
knockout.
okay, that's so weird because the inspector cleared all this. And then
That
the
is what's
center
weird,
point
yeah.
came out and looked at it because they were doing some meter work and they were just curious about the service and they came
And they
and
were
looked
like,
at it
oh,
and nobody
that's
has
fine.
said anything about
You
it.
see, that
But we
yeah.
want it right.
we want it right. I mean,
And
this
we
is
were
what
going to
the
redo
codes
it
are.
anyway because we're
So.
going to not go here, we're going to go over there.
Yes, so we're gonna
And
go
we're
in a
going to
different
replace
place.
this with PVC
Yeah.
for rust. So we were going to undo this anyway. So you'll have to add, well, this won't even go here, right? This will go to the gutter.
Yeah, so no, this will go here. These ones right here will go to the gutter. The line, this is
Oh,
line
this,
in.
this.
Yeah, all of this one will go to the gutter,
Okay.
and then these ones right here going this way are for the house. We'll just
Okay,
add another
okay.
one going
I'm
this
sorry,
direction.
I was thinking backwards. This is the meter can. Okay. Okay.
So it'll be all up to code once we're just gonna change this out to PVC, add another 2-inch right here, and split these up so they're in 2 different conduits going that direction. Then we'll have 2 different conduits going that direction for the 2 different panels. I mean,
2 different cans. Okay.
yeah.
So we'll have a second meter can. 'Cause
Yeah,
we're
we'll have
adding
a second
2
meter can and a
meters.
second
And then we'll have
disconnect.
to have a disconnect.
Yeah,
So is
it'll
there
be a lot
room
smaller.
there?
Yeah, it's
Because this is a 400 amp, so this
and
is,
we're only gonna have a 200 amp for both of them, which will be just 100 amps for each, which they're very small apartments. They don't need a whole.
so you are putting in 2?
No.
Wait, one.
One. The 200
discon-
amps.
okay.
One disconnect, 200 amps. That gives you one. Then we'll put a 100 amp and another 100 amp going to different panels inside.
Right, okay.
So that way
Okay.
it'll be feeding 2 different panels on a 200 amp disconnect.
For one disconnect outside with 1 meter. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it'll be a 200 amp service feeding 2 different panels.
So nothing too atrocious to redo. but
No,
Needs
now,
to get done.
now to let you know what my boss was like thinking, the big change.
The big-
If
okay.
you wanted to think about doing 3 different meter cans, and the reason why he was thinking this is because if you wanted, like this one's getting done first before the other one, you can get this one going and have power on it before the other ones are ready to have power.
Could we not do that anyway and just not run the,
What we have to do is we have to terminate it into a panel. So once we get it in a meter can, disconnect, and then terminate into a panel, we can then turn on power.
right,
So if we have a panel location for everything, then like even have the panels in, then we can have them turn on the power.
without having the wires run in the wall, but you need the panels set.
But we have to have the panel set, and it has to be safed out. The
Okay.
grounds have to all be
I know
correct.
this was going to be like a little, I don't know, prissy on my part, but I'd rather
Sure.
not have like
A whole
more
bunch of things
stuff.
on here.
We
Same
can do
gutter.
that
Yeah, well,
and not
the
have to
gutter will
worry
go.
about redoing it.
Yeah, it's like a 36-inch gutter. It goes here to here, so
Okay.
it'll be able to feed. And even if we have to go off the side of it, it'll
Okay.
still be there.
So,
So the gutter has to happen either way.
okay.
We can put it in the gutter simply. This thing, or this ground rod, was there an issue with them not being able to pound that in more?
I don't remember.
Okay. Because we'll have to have multiple ground rods per service. So there'll have to be one ground rod for this meter can, a disconnect, and then another one for that guy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't recall.
Yeah. Are you running for the concrete inside? Are you going to have a bunch of just concrete floors? I mean, inside, a bunch of rebar. Okay, so what we'll probably do to please the city as well is run a UFA ground as well, which is just
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's just a simple, just an upgrade to ground the service even better than these
Ground to
rods.
the rebar itself?
It grounds to the rebar, yeah. So what we just run a number 4 bare wire, and it just has to run 20 feet continuously, and then clamp onto the rebar,
Okay.
and then we just run that wire up into the disconnect, and then it's
Okay. We should be able to do that.
Yeah,
We
it's-
should be able to dig down, drill in, and do that.
okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
we might be able to come in right here because this is too low. Water still comes in because it had a dam around
Oh.
it that we took down that was
So
higher
we can
than
come
this.
in right there.
So we're going to pour a step up to here.
Sure,
So you would
Just
be able
go
to
right
just
inside
come
there.
right inside.
that'll be perfect.
We haven't done it yet because we're contemplating taking this out. And
Mm-hmm.
when our gutter gets in there, we need a way to get over here. So we're just trying to leave our options open on where that drain
sure.
line can go. But for sure, when
Yeah,
we
it's just
pour
a-
that, it will be,
It's a small number 2 wire that'll go all the way in there.
okay.
So it'll be pretty simple. But that'll also just, it's always about making sure with building services, it's about making sure the city, it makes it look better for the city, and the city make them make it look good and make them happy. So that
But it all gets back to safety in the code.
yes,
I mean,
yes,
it's there.
all safety.
It's there for a
Yeah,
reason.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
all there for a reason. But
So.
if we please them, they pass us, and also we
They pass
because
this.
yeah, that's
Oh.
true.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So more things to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought is it might be good to have both departments on separate meters. You know, it'd be easier than doing split metering inside at the box, you know, with a private meter. They'd be in charge of their own service.
Mm-hmm. And they would be just calling whatever their provider is.
Yeah,
Yep.
so, okay. I mean, this wall is going to be messy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to I'm probably going to build some lattice or something out to mask it, or faux paint it.
Yeah.
There's no rule that says I can't paint this,
Nope.
to faux paint it, to color match,
And
make
it
it
actually
look like.
it helps it anyway, since of all the rust and everything. Painting these things, since
It's
they're
good.
going to rust anyway, even though they have a coating on them and they're powder coated, they're still going to rust. So
Okay.
painting them helps it anyway.
Okay, all right. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
More stuff. So that's a wrap for today. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a little out of order. This went on before Ricardo and his guys came and did that concrete pour that you saw a couple of weeks ago. So all this conduit had to be in. It's part of kind of critical path. We haven't talked a lot about that, but basically some things have to be done before the next step can be done. And in this case, you couldn't pour concrete until the conduit was in the floor. So we got this done, we got the floor poured, and we're moving on to pour the rest of the floor next week. So I'm glad to get this done. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back next time here at the League-Kempner House in Galveston. Remember, we're a nonprofit. We appreciate all the donations you guys have been sending and your support here watching us on YouTube. So be sure and subscribe and turn on notifications because we are moving forward here in the basement and it's getting exciting.